Tell me that you're co-parenting with a narcissist without telling me that you're co-parenting with a narcissist. I'll go first. So we do 50-50 custody with the kid's dad. Always drops the kids off Tuesday nights. Rewind. He lives right up the street, couple houses. He said he wouldn't be able to drop them off at 7. He had somewhere to be. So he takes off at 6:30 and tells the kids we can't walk over to mom's house until 6:55. So he had our 10-year-old sit with our 4-year-old and our 2-year-old for 30 minutes alone while the 2-year-old had a poopy diaper because it was still technically his time.
When are y'all going to stop twisting the narrative that your baby daddies are narcissistic pieces that you can't co-parent with? Because I literally read in your comments that you allow your 10-year-old daughter to watch the children for short periods of time. So when he does it, he's in the wrong. But you also mentioned that every Tuesday at 6:55, y'all meet, which tells me that your custody agreement probably says that the meet time is 7 p.m. So let me get this straight. You knew damn well that he had somewhere to be or an appointment to be at 6:30, and you chose to do nothing about it, and now you're mad at the consequences of your own actions. Make that make sense, because if you really gave it, you would have been there at 6:30. If you really wanted to foster a healthy co-parenting relationship, you would have been there at 6:30. And I can almost guarantee what happened is you actually agreed to leaving the kids with a 10-year-old because you do that in your household, which I also read in your comments, by the way. Then you show up and the child had a poopy diaper, so now you're mad, even though it was something that you naturally agreed with beforehand. And the only reason that you're mad is because you can't control the situation and you're trying to control a narrative that he's this narcissistic piece. But I also read in your comments that you cheated on him during your marriage with a woman. So let me get this straight. You're making up stories online and then you cheated on him, but you don't think you're part of the problem. Oh, and let's not forget, you're not fostering a healthy co-parenting relationship because y'all probably have to email, if I had to guess. Oh, and lastly, like I mentioned, if you really gave it about being there on time, you would have been there at 6:30 instead of worrying about the extra 30 minutes. Okay, bye. So I just come across this woman's 3-minute video about an old video that I did. And usually I don't respond, but since it was a 3-minute video, I'm gonna talk about the points that I actually could articulate. And just for reference, it was this video about why aren't men not men anymore? And at this point, I have more questions than I have answers. So you said that she's your cousin, so where were you to help her move? So she wouldn't have to call the dudes in her phone. But also, your cousin made a blanket statement that why aren't men men anymore? And I have to pose the question, how many men does she have in her phone that she's able to make such a blanket statement? And you mentioned having different morals. Absolutely, we have different morals because as someone that's in a relationship, I'm not going to have multiple dudes in my phone. Enough to where I can generalize and make a blanket statement that men aren't men anymore. And what's the relationship? Are they exes? Are they hookups? Are they just friends? Because we all know that men and women, for the most part, are not just friends. And you mentioned that you don't come on this app just to shame people, but you don't realize that your cousin is simultaneously shaming men by saying all men as a blanket statement to not getting help for her move. But that leads me to my next question is if she does have multiple men in her phone and they are just friends and they have a good relationship, then why is no one willing to help? Did something happen with your cousin and these men to where they feel that they don't want to help her? I mean, that's a fair assumption or a fair question, don't you think? And you mentioned the father being 60 and chilling at his house, not helping. But as a parent, that's something I can't understand because it doesn't matter how old any of my children get. There is no way, no matter what age, that I'm not going to try and help them. Even if I can't physically be there, I'm definitely going to be on the phone to help her get movers or to get people that I know over there to help. And lastly, and most importantly, you mentioned that you want to have your independence and you want a man. But that's the thing. You don't get to pick and choose and cherry pick when you want equality. You don't get to pick and choose when you want a man. You don't get to pick and choose when you get to benefit off of men. And you don't get to use them to your benefit whenever you feel like it. And so that leads me to my last and final question. If men were to use you based off what they can benefit off of you, how would you feel? Okay, bye. Can we just imagine for a moment that if men didn't have so much to lose in divorce, how high the divorce rate would actually be? Maybe more men would file for divorce knowing that they wouldn't get bullied into submission. Or more men would file for divorce knowing that women can't use their children as pawns against them. Or more men would file for divorce knowing damn well that there's going to be no false allegations or no restraining orders against him. Don't you think that more men would file for divorce if they knew that they didn't have to stabilize two households? You know how many men would probably file for divorce if they knew that they were going to see their kids every single day, just like they have in a marriage, rather than going to every other weekend or every weekend and losing time with their kids? We always love to talk about how women are stuck in their marriages, but what about men that are actually stuck in their marriages and still actively trying to make it work? You know how many men would file for divorce if they knew they could go into a courtroom knowing that there's not already a gender bias against him and he's going to have to stabilize two incomes just because women have the privilege of having the parental rights immediately? You know how many men would probably file for divorce if they knew that their retirement wasn't at stake? I'm pretty sure that men would file for divorce more if they knew that they weren't going to automatically be put on child support, or he could risk going to jail for missing a payment due to losing a job or not getting a promotion. Oh, and even if he's paying his child support, if he actually wants to do better in life, he risks losing more money when she wants to take him back to court. Y'all want to talk so much about women being stuck and, oh my God, woe is me situation. But how many men have been stuck situations because they would literally lose everything and can't even rebuild. And when they rebuild, it's still taken from them. And they don't even get the privileges of fatherhood the same way that women feel robbed of their motherhood. Okay, bye.
If there's one thing that we can learn from Medusa's judgment situation is that there's no such thing as a nice guy. Okay, so if you are a woman watching this video right now and you think you have a nice guy and this guy treats everyone else like crap, but he treats you like, you know, the star of the show, he is manipulating you. He's manipulating you because he wants whatever you have, or he wants to be able to control you.
Like, do women ever listen to themselves? Do you realize how delusional you sound to think that a good man is automatically manipulating you based off of one TikToker being exposed? One TikToker made you have the mindset that people being nice to you is manipulation, and you don't think that's delusional or weird. When are y'all gonna stop doing this? When are you gonna stop blaming one man's actions and relating it to all men? You say that there's no such thing as a good guy. Do you feel that way about your brother, your cousins, the men around you, or you just don't have any men that you've ever met that have been nice to you? But then you use an example that's like, oh, if he's nice to you but mean to everybody else, he's manipulating you. But not everything is that deep, and not everything is a form of manipulation. Maybe he just genuinely doesn't like other people but actually loves and cares about you. And I'll never understand it how you can make one man reflective of all men. That doesn't even make sense, because when your friends backstab you, or your friends that are girls like cheat with your boyfriend, you're not out here saying all women can't be trusted, or there's no such thing as a good woman. Y'all will scream women empowerment at the top of your lungs, but when one's up, that's reflective now of all men, and there's no good man left. She goes on to say that all men can't be trusted, but she never asks herself why y'all fall for this in the first place, or why you're so naive to automatically believing that these pandering men are good behind closed doors. Y'all never ask yourself why you're so naive, or why you're so easily manipulated. You always deflect back onto the men. And yeah, are there toxic men and women? Yeah. But you have to be able to learn to decipher that. You have to learn to not ignore the red flags. You have to learn to not be comfortable being uncomfortable. I just think it's the way that women will always say that it's all men, but they never keep that same energy about women, or even women in their circle. Okay, bye.
So you really mean to tell me men used to like this, and now they just use 3-in-1 shampoo, body wash, and conditioner, and gaslight you?
I love how women always say this and downplay a man's role in society, but she wouldn't even be able to record this video and make these outlandish statements without a man building and maintaining everything around her for her to be able to record this video in the first place. A lot of these modern day women don't understand that all of the things around them in society help them and give them the illusion that they are better than they are. Without apps, without phones, without technology, without certain jobs, you would not have the illusion that you're a 10 out of a 10. You wouldn't have the illusion that you have many options in the dating field. You wouldn't have options to get careers. Also, wouldn't be able to be independent without the plumber that comes to your house, the mechanic that fixes your car, the men that work on the cell phone towers, or the men that are farmers that bring your food to the grocery store, or the truckers that bring all from Amazon. You mean to tell me that women actually used to take pride in taking care of their family? They didn't view their children as burdens. They didn't get online and talk their husbands that they chose to marry. They took pride in taking care of everyone around them, including themselves, because they felt joy and fulfillment in building up their husbands and building something together, rather being so selfish to only think about oneself. So yeah, I guess at the end of the day, both men and women used to do a bunch, but at least when you look around and see how the world functions, at least you can say that the majority of it is built by a man. So what is it that the women are doing other than downplaying the men to make themselves feel better? Okay, bye.
It does really feel like modern women are using cheat codes to get through life and then turning around to the developer of the video game and saying, I'm so much better than you. Look how far I am. Look how much money I got. And the developer is saying, I created that cheat code so that you could utilize it so that you can have all that money. No, I did it by myself. I'm so much better than you. And you know the developers are going to be looking at that person like, this person, they're out of it. They don't even understand how far off base they are. That's modern women today.
How is it fair that women have the choice to leave their marriages, some of them even cheat, and now the ex-husband has to pay her way and essentially maintain two households because of her choice? How is that fair? And how is it in the best interest of the children for a dad to try to maintain two households and he's so strapped for money because mom's household is priority? Like, there's no freaking way that this is fair. Why the hell, after a divorce, is mom so prioritized and the dads are gone, even though their household is equally as important? Make that make sense. These fathers are never considered in the same capacity for their standard of living as the mothers. And women will always claim it's about the children, they need more, and they claim to need all this freaking money, but the reality is that these women are expecting these men to give them income. It's called support for a reason. But not only that, is she actually has the audacity when she gets that child support number and it's $130 to actually say, what about my rent? Like, he is not responsible for your rent. If your ex is responsible for maintaining his own household, his own bills, his own utilities, then you are expected to give 50% of your portion as well. It's not rocket science. It's a hell of an incentive to leave your family and disrupt your family and have a broken home, knowing damn well that your ex-husband is responsible now for your standard of care. The part about it is that if these men decide to get a better paying job or get a promotion, these women actually have the audacity to take them back to court to modify their agreement. What's actually hilarious is how many women will get so bent out of shape when he asks to provide proof of where the money is going, because we all know damn well she doesn't need as much money as she claims. And the reality is that these men really only have two options. They can drown themselves in debt to fight a situation that's up against them to begin with, or they can forfeit and be considered a deadbeat. Okay, bye.
Why do men not understand hints in the slightest way possible? Okay, what happened to men being able to pick up on signals when women fancy them? Okay, I'm not making this 10-second eye contact for you to just walk out the room and pretend I don't exist.
It's because men don't understand how to read in between the lines. They're not mind readers. So if you actually like a man, you actually have to learn how to communicate and be straightforward. Some of y'all love to play all of these games and make him guess, and then you have this stupid 3-day rule about texting. Like, stop playing all of the mind games. Let's also not forget that the majority of women come online every single day and talk about medium ugly dudes and ugly men and how men aren't attractive and how they don't find men attractive at all anymore. So again, how is he supposed to read your eye contact? For all he knows, you're making fun of him, you're looking at his socks, you think his outfit's weird, and he's unattractive and has a big nose. But additionally, for the last decade, women have demonized men and villainized men into a corner to where they don't even want to look your direction, because even looking your direction, he could be sexualizing you. He could be objectifying you. He's not going to do any of that anymore because he doesn't want to risk any kind of consequences that could negatively impact the rest of his life. But not only that, is y'all have made men feel so low and so useless that the fear of rejection outweighs the actual potential of him trying to read your mixed signals. So this just seems like the consequences of your own actions, because you can't tell men that you would choose a bear over them, but then expect them to read your mixed signals and want to approach you and be friendly and get to know you. And with that being said, I have to pose the question, do you think that a man is going to understand your eye contact? Because as women, you assume that men are on you 24/7 or sexualizing you if they stare in your direction. So that's why you expect him to pick up on your hints. Just a thought. Okay, bye.
My daughter's birthday party is today, and no, her father is not in. My daughter asked me again if she could call her father today on her birthday. And I told her absolutely not.
As if the first video wasn't bad enough, she actually doubles down on what she's saying, and wow. It's our jobs as parents to foster healthy relationships, and whatever happens, happens.
My daughter asked me if she could call her dad because she really misses him. And my answer to her was no. I do not believe in begging for someone's love and attention.
When are y'all gonna stop projecting your daddy issues onto your daughters? When are y'all gonna stop projecting the fact that you've had to beg for a man's love, so now you're trying to protect your daughter by alienating her from her father and thinking that you're doing the right thing? Let that girl call her dad. It has nothing to do with begging for a man's love, begging for attention. Maybe she got a gift that she wanted to show him. Maybe she was excited about something and wanted to call her dad. Imagine the roles were reversed and she was excited about calling you, and the dad said, no, don't call your mom. And then y'all are going tit for tat, and that's what she gets to remember about her birthday. You think you're protecting her, but all she's going to remember is your bitterness, your spitefulness, and how you ruined her birthday by not letting her call her dad. Y'all think you're doing your kids a service by protecting them from the other parent, but what you fail to realize is that eventually kids become adults and you need to let them make up their own mind. But you can't do that because you're so mad and angry at the other parent that you make it about protecting your child. Everything is like, he's dangerous. Oh, he might hurt her. When really, you're the one doing the emotional damage. You're just as guilty as that absent father. You need to let your children figure it out on their own. And not for nothing, just because you went experiences with your father or men doesn't mean that your child's going to experience the exact same thing, but she is indefinitely going to experience an absent father the more you try to alienate her from her father. Okay, bye.
It really is crazy to see a lot of these modern women justify their bad behavior. But then should a man say, well, I'm doing this for the protection of my child, all of a sudden you want to drag him to court and try to take him for everything he's worth. This is why men have decided to stay single. This is why men have decided to just not even approach women, because they're too much trouble and they feel comfortable getting online saying stupid stuff like this.
So my fiance wants to take a break. She has only been in long-term relationships and she's never had a period of being single before. So she wants this before she gets married.
Let's just call this what it is, and I hate to be the one to break this to you, but she's not interested. She wants a break because she wants other dudes. She wants a break because she wants dudes' attention. She wants a break because she realized that you're not the one, that you're not it. And you can tell how she really feels about you based on how quickly she moves on and how quickly she's just talking to somebody and he's just a friend. She's likely monkey branching, which is basically a term where she's already seeking out potential dating partners while she's still in a relationship with you. She does not like you. This is why I say so much, check phone. You guys need to stop being so naive and trusting certain women because they do not care. It will keep you until they think there's a better option, or maybe some ex slid into her DMs and she's second guessing her entire life with you because now she's a fiance. Stop letting these women use psychology and all of this to brainwash you into thinking that she has some avoidant attachment style and she needs to go find herself. No, she doesn't like you. She's not interested. If she needs a break, then she needs a break up. There is no in between. The moment you let a woman treat you like a doormat, the more she's going to come in and out and in and out and in and out, control your entire existence. It's not avoidant attachment. She just simply isn't interested. We operate in the same exact way that men do, and we know within 3 months whether or not we want to marry you. Okay, bye. Can someone please make this make sense? So let me get this straight. When women are ready to leave, they spend months planning on how they're going to leave. They tell their friends, they tell their family, they lie to their husband's face for months at a time. They stack money. They might get their own apartment. They might even have a plan to set up their kids at different schools. But they don't see that as deceitful or dishonest or harsh, and they don't understand why men are blindsided when women do this. And these women are actually praised. They did the right thing. He was so toxic. He was so horrible. He was blah, blah, blah. All the things. Yes, queen. And no, I don't mean situations. I'm talking everyday relationships where the woman finally says that she had enough and she's claimed to be checked out for months at a time and she decides to leave. But when a man does the exact same thing in the exact same way, now he's a piece. In fact, he won't even have his ducks in a row. His idea of leaving is to go sleep on his parents' couch for a couple of days and come back and try to reconcile. But yet, the men are just the pieces. And the craziest part about it is if these women have kids and they bring the kids with them, there's little to no consequences for them bringing the kids with her. But if a man were to do the exact same thing, he would be looking at kidnapping charges or child endangerment, and he's gonna now have to fight for his kids regardless now that she's taken them. But if he takes them, all they have to do is bring a sheriff over and bring them right back to mom, and she doesn't really have to fight for anything. And these women will try so hard to claim that they communicate, but their idea of communicating is passive aggressiveness, the silent treatment, you should just know. Or my favorite line is, it's whatever. And a lot of times these men will actually think that it's just a rough patch in their relationship and they're hopeful that they'll make up with their wives and their girlfriends. Meanwhile, the women are out here getting whole ass lawyers and looking at divorce. And the crazy part is that women are actually praised for being this deceitful and this dishonest, but when men do it, they're a piece of okay, bye. Let's be so for real. These men don't stand a chance in dating because women turn everything into a red flag. He didn't text back fast enough, red flag. He doesn't text enough, red flag. He doesn't call me enough, red flag. He fell asleep and took a nap and I didn't hear from him for 3 hours, red flag. He breathed the wrong way, red flag. He's existing, red flag. Everything is always something even when it's nothing. And when he says it's nothing, that's also a red flag because he's lying. You'll hear some line about, oh, you can tell a man is toxic by the way he smiles. So now you're looking at your man based on some that you saw on the internet. Like, oh, he's smiling the wrong way. That means he doesn't like me. Y'all leave no room for these men to make any kind of mistakes. Women will literally make up entire storylines about men that they don't even know just to validate their own insecurities and then get online and say all men are trash. You're turning a golden retriever man who has no issues into a wolf based off your past experiences. And then you expect the new man, the good man, the better man to take on all of these challenges with grace when you are the problem. How are you going to be able to go into a relationship looking for a good human being when you're already looking at him as if he's your boyfriend who cheated on you and he deserves to be treated based on what somebody else did to you? And how do you expect these men to still want to date you when you literally turn everything into a problem? Everything is a red flag. Everything that he's doing is toxic. It's not good enough. It's poor behavior and you're never satisfied. Like, make it make sense. Okay, bye.
These modern women really don't give men a lot of incentive to come and approach. They don't really give men a lot of incentive to court them or date them. They give a whole bunch of reasons why men ignore women, and men are doing a fantastic job of avoiding the landmines and the bombs that could potentially blow up in their face as these modern women are looking to steal every single thing that you worked for. Avoid at all costs.
Boy, math is telling women that they go downhill after age 25, but that's the age that their frontal lobe develops and they can't control them anymore.
Girl math is using the frontal lobe excuse on men to avoid their accountability for men in the first place. Women always seem to use this whole frontal only on men, because if women use the same theory on themselves, then why are they still partaking in risky behavior? Why are they still engaging in toxic behavior and not concerned about how others may perceive it? And if your frontal lobe is developed, then why do we have so many impulsive women repeating the same mistakes over and over again and blaming it on men? Girl math is backstabbing your best friend and thinking that you still have empathy or concern or remorse about others. Y'all love to preach on this app how immature men are because their frontal lobe is not developed, but what about yours? Y'all love to put on men, but most of y'all don't even have your own frontal lobe developed while you simultaneously deflect and project all onto the men because you're impulsive, you lack social cues, you partake in risky behavior, and it's all immaturity that leads to me believing that your frontal lobe is not developed and you're avoiding accountability by blaming it on the men. Okay, bye. Imagine believing in equal rights and thinking that it's worshiping someone. Just having basic empathy, compassion for the other side of the fence is considered worshiping. But also enough to leave a comment like this: I see that my FYP has failed me. This is just another male worshiper. So when women want empathy, compassion, care about their situations or the things that they've been through, is that worshiping women? Because I'm sure that's what you would expect. It's just a weird mentality that when I show what happens in the male perspective based on what I've seen behind the scenes and what I've seen on social media and the things that have happened to men around me, it's worshiping. If you don't believe in equality or men's mental health or care for anyone else other than women, you can just say that instead of making it about worshiping. I mean, this comment is just pure and blatant selfishness, and it shows. So I guess I'd rather be a male worshiper than be anything like you. Okay, bye. Any woman that says something like, if I'm too much, go find less, it's because she's actually too much. Let me explain. Some of these women think that they have so much to bring to the table and they offer so much in a relationship, but they don't. They're not anything special. They're not anything good. And they actually need to not be in relationships and need to go heal. They get into relationships expecting these men to be like fixer-uppers, to be Joanna Gaines and fix their insecurities while they simultaneously break men down to the level that they're at. And they don't think that's too much. These women thrive in chaos and want to argue every 3 days because they don't know how to just be secure and calm in a relationship or comfortable. So they're going to fight and start random fights and make up narratives in their head to make you feel like the lesser person. And it's much every single day to be arguing about some of y'all nag way too much. You'll nag about every little thing without realizing that he's putting efforts in other places that still make the relationship work. Y'all want to focus so much on negativity, but you can't understand why he doesn't crave you the same or look at you the same way or treat you the same way. How do you expect a man to crave you when you don't show any excitement or enthusiasm about him like you used to? And some of y'all want to be so freaking annoying by asking your man 1,000 times a day what's wrong when he gets silent, but sometimes he needs time to out and process things and he doesn't express himself the exact same way that you do, and now you're mad and you think he's cheating and you think that there's another woman and you want to check his phone 10 times a day to catch him doing something wrong when you're basically projecting your past of somebody that cheated on you onto him, and you can't understand why he's upset or why he doesn't talk about anything. Some of y'all need to let that man breathe and understand that he's still a human being. He's still going to be going, and it doesn't mean that he wants to talk about it. It has nothing to do with you, and you need to stop so personal. And the real problem is that some of y'all think that just because you don't cheat means that you're a good partner in a relationship, and some of y'all suck and need to appreciate your man better. Okay, bye.
I actually get guys coming up to me quite often on the street, but I've told my girlfriends that there's kind of like a rule, so it's always the weird ones who come up and talk to you. Most of the time I give them my number, but I know from right off the bat that I'm not interested, and then I just let things kind of fizzle out. At some point they get the memo.
Let's just call this what it is. This is a woman who is so desperate for attention that she'd rather lie to him, be dishonest, lead him on, and waste his time because her currency is attention. So of course she wants as much attention as she can get because she doesn't want to risk having nothing at all. You'd rather be dishonest and use a person for a couple of weeks because it gives you self-confidence, self-esteem, an ego boost, and probably makes you feel really good just because some Chad that ignored you for 2 weeks isn't giving you the level of attention that you want. Yet women will argue that they're the better communicators. Okay. But not only that, someone in the comments actually had the audacity to say, oh, I do this all of the time because I'm afraid that men are going to unalive me. So you're hiding behind your victimhood yet again to dismiss the fact that you're just rude and impolite. How does that make sense that you're going to encourage a relationship and lead a man on to make him not want to unalive you? Wouldn't it be the exact opposite? Y'all are weird. Let's just be honest. You're going to pick the guy that has a six-pack and abs that's 6 foot with a teardrop tattoo over the guy that maybe is a little weird, a little uncomfortable, and is a level 6 because you don't find him attractive, so he's immediately creepy. Okay, bye.
I don't know why modern women think that they can talk to men any type of way. Like they just feel like they're above men. Well, actually I do. They get around their delusional friends and they all start talking stupid and wonder why men won't approach. They wonder why men won't date. They wonder why men just look at them, make eye contact and leave. Modern women.
Sharing this video because I think a lot of men need to understand that this is a subtle form of parent alienation, and I've tried to explain this type of behavior in other videos and I did not know how to explain it, and this is the perfect example and the perfect video to explain how subtle ways that bitter baby moms alienate the fathers from their children or make the children feel unsafe that they don't want to go to dad's house. Please watch the video in full before commenting.
Alienation is your father's an asshole. Negative gatekeeping is, hello, here it's your father. I just said your father's an asshole. I didn't have to say it out loud. And what's great is when the child's attorney or the judge speaks to the kid and says, does mommy ever say anything bad about dad? The kids tell him the truth when they say, no, she didn't say anything about dad. But she said, because here's the difference. What's the difference? Ready? Hey, did you have fun with dad? Oh, that's great. Where'd you guys go? Oh, you went to the park? Oh, that's nice. That's good. It was fun. Oh, good. Did you have dinner? Oh, what did you have? Pizza? Oh, good. I know you like pizza. All right, well, go upstairs, brush your teeth. I'm so glad you're home. I missed you so much when you were away this weekend. Oh my gosh. Are you okay? Yeah, you okay? Yeah, you had a good time. You were with dad. You went to the park today? It's so cold today. Oh my gosh, did you have pizza? That's all you had for dinner was pizza? Oh my gosh. Why didn't they give you any vegetables? Well, you know, it's okay. You know what? I'm going to make your favorite soup. Go head upstairs, and when you come back down, I'm going to make you your favorite soup, and we're going to hang out and we can watch TV together, okay? What did I just do? What did I just do? I just alienated that kid from dad I just said, are you okay? That means dad's dangerous. Why would I not be okay? I was with my dad. Like, this is what the face of alienation is now, is this negative gatekeeping model. It's this very clever, insidious way of like, I could have been helpful, but I've been so much more. Wow. You found this way to sort of pull the person out from it. And you will not be surprised probably to hear, for some of the reasons I think you just said very well, this is something women are really good at.
So there's a few things that I don't do as a married woman. Number one, I do not cook for my husband. I only cook for my children. My husband will be making his own breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Number two, I do not help him pay any bills. So if he is short on the rent, on utilities, or anything like that, it is not my problem. I will not be helping him out. His job is to provide for his family. So I am not financially contributing to any of the bills.
Imagine how mean and selfish and delusional you have to be to come on the internet and basically brag about how you do absolutely nothing in your relationship for your husband and your marriage and think that that's a flex. But not only that, is imagine for a moment going through your house and keeping tally of all of the things that you're not doing for your husband in a marriage. Seeing laundry on the floor. Nope, not going to do that. Oh, we're financially strapped. Nope, not my problem. Oh, not my problem. Imagine just keeping tally like that and keeping a mental note throughout the course of your relationship and claiming that you still love this person. She doesn't love him because women have this innate ability to be nurturing caretakers. A lot of women take pride in taking care of their family, and if you don't have that instinct for someone, you do not love them. This is a perfect example of why so many men will say that women and children are loved unconditionally, because she's more than capable of taking care of her children, but basically you to the person that created those children. So he was good enough to make babies with, but he's not good enough to take care of. Like, make that make sense. But these are the same types of women that when he gets fed up for not getting something in return or not having the energy reciprocated and he goes out and cheats, now he's a piece. Every single day that I come on this app, I am reminded why so many men have opted out and decided to be single, because who the hell would want to deal with women like this that are so entitled and selfish and only think about themselves while still claiming that they want to be in a relationship, they want to be married, and they claim to love somebody while they're basically using them. Okay, bye.
I divorced my high school sweetheart after 5 years of marriage and 4 babies. And I recently started dating. And let me tell you something that I've noticed we do. Myself and several of my friends have gotten out of either marriages or long-term relationships that were either physically, emotionally, verbally toxic. Maybe the partner didn't hold their weight, whatever. I'm not just speaking to my experience. And I've noticed something, that we start dating and we meet someone and they're doing the bare minimum and we think it's everything.
This is another narrative that's just getting old. Like, how does it take you 5 years, but not only 5 years, okay, you're kind of dumb, you're naive, you don't know any better, but 4 children? So he was toxic and all of these things for 5 years, and you still decided to pop out 4 children with him. Like, make that make sense. Like, is it one of those situations where you think that a baby is going to make the relationship better? But then what gets me is you literally tell on yourselves, because then you say you have a bunch of friends that are going through the same thing or have been through the same thing. And what do you think that is? Y'all are in each other's ears talking about how miserable you all are. One person will say, oh, my husband's manipulative. So what does that do? You start to think, oh, maybe my husband is manipulative too. So you start seeing him as a liar, a cheater, doesn't tell the truth, is a horrible person, because all of your friends are also in your ear. But not only that, is your friends, once they become single, will then make you think that the grass is greener on the other side. So you all end up divorced, miserable, and unhappy, supposedly because of a toxic relationship. If it's so damn toxic, then why did you have 4 children? Why didn't you stop at 1 child? Because you knew long before you had baby 2, 3, and 4 that he was toxic. And then y'all get online and talk about the bare minimum this and the bare minimum that, and the dating scene sucks. But what have you actually done to heal yourself other than break up your family and on the internet? Like, really? And the funny thing about it is you're going to actually expect somebody else who's not the father of your children to take on 4 kids willingly. Like, what delusional world are y'all living in? And if he has kids of his own, guess what? You end up with like 6 kids. Like, it's just freaking wild to continuously come on the internet and talk about how somebody is when you chose to have 4 children with him. You have friends that are divorced and miserable, and y'all are doing this expecting a different result. Okay, bye.
I literally don't think that people who aren't single mothers understand how hard it is to be a single mother. And like, you don't have to, so like, I get it that you don't understand, but like, oh my God. Let me explain my day to you. I'm in my room. So I work a 9 to 5. So today's Monday, got up at 6, went to work. Before I went to work though, I got everybody's lunch ready, made everybody breakfast, got everybody ready, got myself ready, etc. Made it to work by 9. Worked all day. Picked up my kids. Went to the grocery store to get a full week's worth of groceries. Spent $150. Came home. Had to lug 4 full bags of $150 worth of groceries from Aldi's.
Single mom to single mom here. Just so you know, we do understand, and people do understand. They just don't give up because you're not a victim to your situation. You laid down bag men, and you did it more than once because I read your comments, and you have more than one baby daddy and multiple children. That's a you problem, and nobody feels bad for you. I don't understand, as women, if we're so empowered, why on this app, when I open it every single day, you're crying about, oh, woe is me, my situation is so hard. Like, you created this situation and now you want people to feel bad for you. We don't. And I say that as a single mother. But not only that, everything that you listed, getting groceries after a long ass day and bringing them in the house and doing adult work that you would do with or without children. And I'm just so sick of this narrative, like, woe is me, poor me, oh my God, I'm a single mom. Who cares? Everybody out here is struggling for the most part with or without kids. But not only that, is so many of them have so much time to sit on this app and cry about it. Maybe if you put that energy back into your children, back into your responsibilities, practice time management, you know, y'all would be having a much easier time. Like literally, even in this video, you're like saying to your child that you're in your room, but you're on your phone instead of engaging with your children. Make it make sense. So people do understand. People don't feel bad anymore. You cannot play victim in situations that you created. Okay, bye.
Once again, this is just an extension of modern women thinking they have it so much harder than everybody else. Literally all of the things that you mentioned is what a normal adult does. And guess what? You can probably have people shop for you. Yeah, there are some things here and there that, oh man, I would just rather get it in person. I get it. But you sitting at home or sitting at work while on break, having somebody else shop for you, you just run by and pick it up, might lighten your load a little bit. But I get it. You do things because you want a little bit more control. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But don't make it seem like you're doing so much more than everybody else out here. You're a normal adult with kids.
I'm getting so sick and tired of women saying that they want healthy relationships, because no, you don't. You absolutely don't want healthy relationships, because why are you getting so mad when he brings up issues? If you want a healthy relationship, why haven't you learned to communicate better? Or why are you screaming in his face every time he questions you about your behavior? Why are you giving him the silent treatment every time he tries to express his feelings to you, or flip it back on him and deflect it when he wants to talk to you about something serious? You don't want a man to take care of you. What you want is to be able to dominate said man, so then you can feel more powerful in your role as a woman while you're on OnlyFans or have a roster, and you want him to sit back and basically be a simp. Like, how the hell are you going to say that you want peace and healthy relationships when all you're doing is switching men and not changing yourself? You're changing partners to avoid accountability. But then when other women call you out on this behavior, now they're misogynistic and they're pieces also. Even though you've proven time and time again with 3 different baby daddies or multiple partners and rosters that you're incapable of having said healthy relationship, and it's all a man's fault. So many women thrive so heavily in all of the chaos while simultaneously preaching that they want security in a relationship. And it's not security that you want. What you really want is to be able to run men, dominate men, treat them, and get everything you want with absolutely nothing in return. Okay, bye.
Call me crazy, call me whatever you want, but I am not the only one that's engaged. You know who else is engaged? My man. I gave my man, I just got it for him, this like rubber bandy black band from Amazon.
I honestly don't know if I should laugh or cry for this man. You mean to tell me that she has almost 1 million followers and all she decided to get him was a rubber ring? Not only was it only a rubber ring, she only got it for him so people would know that he's engaged, which was self-serving. Okay, and you can say that most men in trades can use a rubber ring, but where's the thought process behind an actually good, authentic ring from his girlfriend, now fiance? And if the roles were reversed, we all know that every single woman in the comments, if a man gave a woman a rubber ring or a cheap ass ring, like a Pandora ring, y'all would be like, dump his ass, he doesn't even like you. So of course, I have to say, she like you, dude. If she doesn't want to get you a real ring, dump her ass. Any real woman would spend money on a ring, especially if you know that she's making money the way that she's making money. Because you cannot tell me that she's not hitting, a couple $100 per video, even just on this app. And that doesn't even include any other things that she's doing via social media. Women will expect these heavy, costly engagement rings, and this is the best that y'all can do. Like, practice what you preach. If you expect him to spend a lot of money on your ring, then you need to turn around and spend money on his ring. Okay, bye.
Yes, if he wanted to, he would. But why are the ones who would always the ones who I'm like, please don't? Like, ugh.
It's because women are toxic. They fall in love with the process of falling in love. They don't fall in love with the person. Women 9 times out of 10 will always pick the more toxic dude over the guy that's healthy, because healthy is boring. And she'll never admit this because she can't recognize the patterns in her own self. But not only that, she's also going to have to settle for the less attractive dude that's maybe a 6 or a 7 rather than a 9 or a 10. And she doesn't want to do that either. Why do you think so many women leave happy relationships? It's because they're bored. They miss excitement. And guess what? Healthy relationships are gonna get boring. Not only are women inherently toxic in relationships, they're inherently toxic with each other. The way that they backstab each other, the way that they judge each other, the way that they even watch reality TV shows and thrive off the drama, or how all of the videos on TikTok that go viral are dramatic, or somebody's cheating on somebody and everybody's invested in somebody else's drama. So what she really means when she says that she wants a healthy relationship, she wants a healthy relationship that's just slightly toxic enough not to be boring. Okay, bye.
In public without a fresh manicure. And guess where I ended up next? Publix, because where shopping is a pleasure, but here's the thing. Can you really enjoy shopping if your hair isn't on point? This is the 2 packs of crayons that I got from my daughter. That's all I was able to afford after doing my hair and my nails. So that's what she's taking.
These are the types of women that will divorce you, put you on child support, and when it's only $50 a month, get pissed because they no longer can afford their lifestyle. These are the types of women that resent their children and shouldn't be parents in the first place. And even if this is satire and a joke, the reality is that there are so many women that think exactly like this. It's basically she never has to pay her portion and she's waiting on his child support payment to make it cover everything. And when it doesn't, now he's a deadbeat and doesn't pay enough. And let's just assume she's still married. She's still putting herself in financial ruin and her family in financial ruin and being selfish by prioritizing herself first. Oh, but you'll say, oh, the child is well taken care of. They have a roof over their head. Absolutely. But those are things that a woman should have with or without a child involved. The fact that so many women are comfortable putting themselves above their children, like this video, and making jokes about it as if it's some kind of flex, it's not. And what really gets me is that you really think that making videos, like basically putting your child last, even as a joke for clout and views, is acceptable, because guess what? Your kids eventually grow up and see videos like this, and eventually they start to believe it. Okay, bye.
This is just another extension of modern women not understanding things in your past can and will come back to haunt you. All of these women who have an OF putting their behinds out there like that, at some point in time, your child is probably going to hear that from their friends and they're going to be made fun of. Why would you intentionally create an avenue for your kids to be looked at differently? I'll say it like that for YouTube. Treated differently, treated harshly. Possibly people put their hands on them. I'll say it like that. For what? Because they don't think about anybody else but themselves.
Well, most of the women in my comments don't actually believe that misandry exists. So here we go. The definition for misandry is hating men, as seen in the Oxford Dictionary, which is the most accurate one as of 2022. I think Emma Watson said it the best right here in this video, and I'm going to play it for you.
And the more I've spoken about feminism, the more I have realized that fighting for women's rights has too often become synonymous with man-hating.
Then you guys say that misandry isn't real, but then there's posts like this.
It was the best feeling ever.
And that post says literally that she ruined a man's life, and it was the best day of her life, by the way. Even this, the millions of posts about men being trash.
Men are trash.
Or ones like this. Posts like this that are posted as jokes, but it's making fun of a man's height or a man that is balding. Of course, the queen of misandry, I think we all know who that is. Who literally fights misogyny with misandry and thinks that she's winning some grand old prize. Or even this one about deleting all men.
Well, this woman says, I'm pregnant, having a scan soon to find out if it's a girl, or I'm unaliving it. Hashtag delete all men.
With that being said, I hope by now you guys can see that misandry is actually a real thing. There is a whole generation of women out there that absolutely hate men, and you see it playing out here today on social media. Okay, bye. It's always male privilege this and male privilege that, but there's so much male privilege that 98% of military casualties are men. There's so much male privilege that there's always the caretaker presumption that women are the better caretakers. I mean, really, there's so much privilege in having to fight for your children in court because you're looked at as the lesser parent, even though you want 50-50 and fair share to your children. And there's so much privilege when you're going into court knowing that there's a gender bias. It's always male privilege, but men are never looked at as the primary caretaker and often left out of educational decisions and medical decisions involving their own children. There's so much male privilege that there's not even changing tables in the men's bathroom, but yet society wants men to step up as fathers. There's so much male privilege that he's guilty until proven innocent when it comes to any SA allegations, rape, or any claims in court. Men have such male privilege that 68% of the homeless are men. They have such male privilege that they have less legal representation when it comes to court and child support cases. They have such male privilege that there's no shelters, no homes for them being homeless. And they're often denied access to their children because of housing situations. I mean, there's such male privilege that they have to take on the more extensive roles when it comes to the workforce, and 92% of fatalities in the workplace are also men. And it's interesting that male privilege is only spoken about by women that want to use it so they can flip it and play victim and invalidate a man's experience, while simultaneously preaching that everyone matters and we all have feelings and everything's valid. Oh, unless it has to do with a man and his privilege. Okay, bye. I just really want to highlight this comment because it says, "Thank you for this. Being a stepmom is one of the hardest jobs in the world, especially when baby mom is bitter." I literally have never seen a more relatable comment in my comment section, probably ever. When I was dealing with a high conflict baby mom, I felt so alone in my experience, and anytime I brought it to social media, it only made the situation worse. In my situation, the level of stalking that this person and her mother would go against me in every situation, I was under a microscope and I was considered dangerous for literally no reason, was absolutely heartbreaking. To this day, it has been one of the most challenging situations I've ever put myself in, for basically falling in love with a man who has children. Which is why, if you don't have any children, I highly recommend not getting yourself involved unless you have tough skin. With that being said, one of the hardest things that I've had to learn as a bonus parent or a bonus mother is basically bonding with the child or children, and it can be taken away in a heartbeat the moment that high conflict parent comes back into this situation, or for the weekend or the week, and basically brainwashes them all over again with all this in their own way and in a subtle way, to where you have to restart over the process of bonding with them and getting them to trust you and love you or accept you and appreciate you again. I would not trade being a bonus parent for anything. I treat them exactly like my biological daughter. There is no difference to me, which is why it is so heartbreaking to have been bullied in a situation where I didn't deserve to be bullied. Okay, bye. Some of these women out here really want men to show up for them emotionally, but they never try to understand a man's perspective. Every single time a man tries to talk about his feelings, he's often shut down, it's used against him later on, or women somehow make it about themselves. How is it that you want a man to understand you, but you don't take the time to understand him or understand his perspective? Some of y'all, instead of understanding a man's perspective, you're going to call him immature or say that he's a loser or call him a narcissist. You fail to understand that men are natural providers and they have a lot of stress when it comes to wanting to provide for you. And guess what happens? He gets to risk you leaving for the next guy that might be able to provide more. If he's not providing enough, then you're going to fall for the next guy that's giving you more attention. And he has everything to lose. Some of y'all become so vindictive that you take everything from him and take his kids and give him the bare minimum time. But then you want to call that immature or lack of emotional availability. But where is your emotional availability? A lot of men are out here doing their best but scared. Because what kind of man is going to tell a woman that he's scared? He's scared of risking everything for her. He's not going to fucking tell you that. He's not going to tell you that because he knows that you're going to laugh in his face or look at him as weak. So what is he supposed to do? So many women are so quick to say that men are so emotionally unavailable, but women are just as emotionally stunted in the sense that they can never understand or never will understand or want to understand a man's perspective. Isn't that the same thing? Okay, bye. Women only care about 50-50 when it benefits them. Let me explain. What I mean by this is, have you ever noticed that when women bring up a 50-50 conversation, it always has to do with household chores, emotional labor, cooking and cleaning? But the conversation is almost never about when was the last time that you fixed his car? When was the last time you took his car for an oil change? When was the last time that man got to sit on the couch and not hang your pictures on the wall? When was the last time you fixed the plumbing or fixed your own car? Exactly, because 50-50 is not a real thing unless it benefits women. So let me get this straight. Women have added all of this emotional labor and all of these house chores while he's been working. What does he get in return? He gets lukewarm effort. He gets lack of loyalty. He gets nagging. He gets a bad attitude. He gets a woman that doesn't value the relationship and doesn't take pride in taking care of a family or him. Women will almost never acknowledge a man's labor in the relationship because it's expected. But when he expects her to cook and clean, oh no, now it's a problem. And you see this a lot when women go to get divorced. The only other time that women give about 50-50 is when you're going through a divorce. Again, because it benefits them. So it's just crazy to me that this is still a conversation, because if you truly believed in 50-50, that man wouldn't have to add more to his plate while you simply sit back and do the same things that you've always been doing. Okay, bye.
Pretty much. And this is the reason why men aren't getting married, why they're choosing to stay single.
Let me get this straight. There's women out here that expect men to be making $300,000 a year, working 30 hours a week so they can be home by 4 p.m. so then they can then help with the household chores, the cooking, the cleaning, and all of the labor-intense jobs that women do. If that's not unrealistic enough, in between all of that and getting that bag with 30 hours, he's expected to create a Disneyland movie with rose petals on the bed, trips planned and dates planned 24/7 so she can post it on Instagram to get the fulfillment and validation from other people. If that's not unrealistic enough, then men are expected to give up all of their hobbies, all of their interests, and only be interested in her. And this is all while he simultaneously gives up all of his dreams, all of his aspirations, and only picks jobs that cater to the bag that she's looking for. As if all of that is not unrealistic enough, he's also expected to never look at another woman or even glance in her direction or like any pictures on Instagram. Meanwhile, she's allowed to post her butt cheeks on the internet and get all of the validation either from men or other women. So when he has expectations and boundaries, it doesn't matter if she doesn't respect them, but he's supposed to respect her 24/7 with little to nothing in return. And the funny thing is that even when this man tries to give her everything and he becomes more emotionally in tune by going to therapy and doing all of the things that she asks, she's going to consistently change the goalpost so it makes it impossible. Not only are her unrealistic expectations impossible to meet, he'll meet them every single step of the way and it's still never going to be good enough. And she'll end up cheating with some Joe Schmo down the street that has no job and no car because he was emotionally available and he was able to give her the things that he couldn't emotionally. Okay, bye. Why does no one want to talk about the fact that women bait and lure men in by sex in the beginning of the relationship, only to then turn around and blame him later on for the lack of emotional security, which is why she can't have sex with him anymore, and that's the reason for the lack of intimacy in the relationship? Excuse me, but when you met him in the beginning of a relationship and you only knew him for a month, maybe 3 months, he wasn't emotionally safe, but you gave it up to him then. But not only that, is you literally were giving it up to him to impress him, to lure him in, and you weren't rejecting him. So now that he feels rejected later on in the relationship, you want to make him feel bad for it. Make that make sense. And y'all don't think that this is manipulative or deceiving or hurtful or is going to lead to any psychological problems within the men that you're dating. Make it make sense. But then y'all don't just turn these men down gracefully. You want to make them feel, you want to belittle them. You want to make them feel less than, and you actually make them feel so less desirable, not because of sex, but even your body language, the passive aggressive tones, and the way that you go about turning him down. What's crazy is y'all set the standard for how you want the intimacy to go in a relationship, but then when he wants that to be the expectation, now you're mad. Let's not forget that if this man decides that he doesn't want intimacy on the one day that you decide to initiate because maybe he's overworked, he's also burnt out, maybe he's also depressed or has anxiety, you're going to accuse him of cheating. Oh, and get this, when you finally decide to break it off with him because y'all are having conflict about intimacy, y'all will go the next dude within 2 weeks, and y'all don't think that that has anything to do with emotional security. So you over a good man for some Joe Schmo on the side. Okay, bye. I'm just using this comment to also add that if she is not initiating some kind of intimacy at least once a week, she doesn't like you. If she's not cooking and cleaning for you and not showing that innate ability in her to want to take care of you and take pride in that because she feels good making you feel good, she doesn't like you. And to all the men in my comment section constantly saying that you've gone 5 or 6 years without any type of intimacy, she doesn't like you. I'm not going to automatically assume that there's another dude on the side, but she's definitely talking to somebody else or she's planning her exit. And I will say, just to add to this point, is that so many women fall in love with the process and don't fall in love with the person. So as soon as that lust factor wears off, she doesn't want you anymore. And it's always, I never knew what I saw in him. But then she feels stuck or she feels like she can't leave, and then she'll have babies with you because you're the safe option. Meanwhile, she never liked you in the first place. She just liked how you made her feel. Stop settling for these lukewarm relationships, because I promise you there's women out here that still take pride in taking care of their family and their men and wanting to initiate intimacy to show that they love you and that they care about you. Okay, bye.
Here's some secret tea that men will deny, but it's true. A lot of them say, I don't like a girl wearing all that makeup, or I want to see you without all that makeup, or like, oh, look at the piles of makeup on your face. They're saying that because they know that makeup gives you confidence because you feel pretty. The enemy of a crusty, dusty guy, an insecure guy, is a confident woman.
Let's be so for real. No guy wants to wonder who he's waking up to after a long night getting drunk. Y'all literally don't even look like yourselves. But on a serious note, men can't even give you a compliment with you dissecting it, making it about him not wanting you to be confident. This is a perfect example of what I mean when y'all want to make something out of nothing, and it's a compliment when a man says that you don't need makeup. He's telling you that you should feel confident just the way you are. Y'all want to turn something positive so badly into something negative and decipher it a different way because you have low self-esteem, and you want to blame it on the men for having low self-esteem when it's not his responsibility to fix it. And let's be honest, the makeup tutorials, the amount of makeup that people want to wear nowadays, like some of y'all literally look like The Walking Dead without makeup. You look like two different people. If y'all go missing, nobody is ever going to find you. You don't look like your pictures between the makeup and the filters. And what really gets me is y'all want to always insult these men that want to give you compliments by calling them insecure, basically because you feel insecure without makeup. And you feel insecure without makeup because of other women, not because of other men. And y'all don't think it's weird that you want to turn everything positive that a man has to say to you into something negative. Some of y'all are so weird for that. And the only reason that you think he's lying is because you don't actually like the way that you look. Y'all are just weird for that. Okay, bye.
Unfortunately for a lot of these women, that comment that she made about The Walking Dead is spot on, 100% accurate.
Harsh truths you need to understand as men if you're going to be in relationships with women. She has the power to completely destroy your life just by her say so, and there's little to nothing that you can do to defend yourself. She can take everything that you own. She can take your kids. She can make the schedule for you to never see them again, and she can even put you in prison just by her say so. She can make up an entire narrative about you as a person, who you are, who you want to become, things that you did. She can make up an entire story, tell her friends, tell the internet, tell her family. She will have zero proof, zero evidence, but she will always be believed. So tread lightly. And the other part about that is she could have your friends, your family, everyone that's close to you turn on you in the blink of an eye, even with little to no proof. Another harsh truth is that no woman is ever going to accept you for being the nice guy because you're too predictable. It doesn't matter how much you buy her. You can't buy her love, attention, and appreciation. She's always going to go for the man that gives her a little bit of uncertainty, no matter what you do. Your physical appearance and your appearance matters because she's going to base her sexual activity on how she views you and how you look. which means you actually have to care about how you look and how you present yourself. And lastly, you have to understand that the moment that you stop validating a woman and her feelings and giving her attention is the moment that you lose her. It doesn't matter how much you buy her. It doesn't matter how much money you make. All it matters is that she has her feelings and needs met 24/7, and it's almost an impossible task because there's no amount of validation that she's getting from you that she's not getting from social media. Okay, bye.
When are men gonna learn that you cannot be nonchalant? I had an ex who literally used to spoil me so much. He paid all my rent, my bills, everything. But when I broke up with him, so I don't need the money at the end of the day if you're doing too much. You're not acting right. He said, okay, well then go find your millionaire boyfriend then. Go find another. Go find someone who's gonna treat you the way I did. You wanna know how long that took? A month. A month. I don't know why men think that they're the prize.
Where's the baddie in the room? Because I don't see her. Yeah, such a baddie that she can get a man, but she can't keep a man. You claim that you're a baddie, but aren't baddies independent, can pay for their own, but then you have men paying your bills, spoiling you, and treating you a certain way, but then you try to backpedal and say that you don't need his money. Okay. It literally makes no sense because she says that she doesn't need the money, but then she turned around and found a man that was still paying her bills. Make that make sense. But then you think that you're gonna like one up this nonchalant man by basically admitting to the internet that you found a new man within a month, so you pretty much sleep around. Ooh, damn, you showed him. Imagine getting on the internet admitting that you sleep around for money, but yet you don't think the man that you had was the prize. Okay, you really showed that good guy that took care of you that he was doing too much, that he's really missing out. And fellas, let this be your lesson to not pay a woman's bills unless she's in an exclusive relationship with you or she's married to you. Stop paying these women's bills that pretty much know that you and they don't value you, respect you, or appreciate you, and think that the grass is greener on the other side. Okay, bye. Women will say that they don't want a feminine man, but then turn around and expect men to cook and clean. Women will say they don't want a feminine man, but then they will expect men to be in tune with their emotions and go to therapy. Women will say they don't want a feminine man, but as soon as he's acting like a man and in his masculinity, now he's an alpha male, and now you want to use it as an insult. Women will say they don't want a feminine man, but they will expect men to still go to Starbucks and Target with them and even do projects from Hobby Lobby. Women will say that they don't want a feminine man, but they will expect that man to still watch reality TV with them, like Love Island and Love is Blind. Women will say that they don't want a feminine man, but then turn around and fall in love with a man's words rather than his actions because he's acting feminine in his emotions. Women will say that they don't want a feminine man, but as soon as she sees dirt under his fingernails, now she's expecting him to want manicures and pedicures. Women will say that they don't want a feminine man, but they still want the men to be nurturing to her and her children. Women will say they don't want a feminine man, but they want him to have the nurturing behaviors and the motherhood instilled with them like they do. Women will say they don't want a feminine man, but still expect this man to be home mopping and sweeping the floors on his days off instead of mowing the yard. Some of y'all really just want women with male genitalia, and if that's what you want, you can just say that instead of tearing men down and dissing their masculinity. Okay, bye.
They'll say that men want to date each other and then literally say, if you can't outdo my friends and what they do for me, then I don't want you as my man. What does that sound like? Why don't you marry your female friend then?
Let me tell you how this is gonna work. You ain't gonna tell me. Listen, suck my. Shut up. Listen to me. Suck my. You man. Listen, suck my. You will be here in the court on Monday. You're sucking my. Well, listen to me now.
Can someone explain to me why this video has so many likes? 522,000 likes on the post, and the second comment is, yeah, my husband keeps asking me why I'm so mean to him. So y'all are out here just being mean, just to be mean. The fourth comment down says, I am no man's peace. So when y'all talk against men, it's funny, but when it's women, y'all would be in the comments talking about, get the hell out of there, queen. You need to follow a restraining order. This is call the cops, get the hell out. And what really stands out to me is so many men will tolerate all of them. They really love a woman for months, if not years. He'll tolerate it for so long, and then eventually he snaps, or he goes ballistic, or he finally reacts to all of, and now she wants to have her phone out to record him so she can put it on the internet and claim people will believe her because she's automatically a perpetual victim in her victimhood as a woman. Why do you think there's so many women claiming so with 0 police reports filed? Because a lot of times women provoke these men to get a reaction because they want attention from said man. The other crazy part about it is that she can turn around and blame it on her hormones, or she's just being mean because she has her period. Let's be real, when he starts to be anxious or depressed or walking on eggshells around her because he doesn't know what's going to trigger her or set her off, he's told to suck it up. He's told to go to therapy. He's told to be a man and deal with it. And not once will these types of women turn around and recognize that they're part of the problem. Okay, bye.
A man that's financially unstable will literally do nothing but bring you hardship. He will literally do nothing but make your life harder.
It is always going to be the broke women that have the most to say about a man's finances. Women love to talk about men being so financially unstable, but most women have more credit card debt, student loan debts, and all of that men actually take on when they date them. But not only do they take it on, some of these men put these women through school, they make their lives better, they get them the bigger house, the better car, and y'all are so used to it and entitled that you don't even appreciate it anymore. But how about this? If y'all want men to come at you financially stable, then why don't you come to men being emotionally stable? Let's even out the playing field at this point. Don't expect a man to be financially stable if you're going to come in and just attack his character based on his money. Or don't expect a good man to treat you well if you're only focused on men being great because of their wallet. Y'all show up to these men emotionally unstable, financially unstable, with a 580 credit score with nothing to offer, literally one payment away from needing to start an OnlyFans. You can't survive without welfare and a man's help, but then you get on the internet, talk about make men great again. How about we start with making women great again by just appreciating the value of a man? Okay, bye.
If a man can get you in mommy mode, he will forever have a mommy. I believe that this is why men want to have a wife and have children, because if he can get her already being a caregiver for children, he knows that he has secured an in-house maid, a mommy, somebody who will do all the cooking and cleaning, just like he will be taken care of.
Why do y'all do this? Why do y'all come online and say that men only want mommies? Yes, they want women that are nurturing, not with a bad attitude, to have good mothers for their children, not for themselves. Y'all love to twist this narrative, but y'all never want to talk about the fact that you guys want men to provide for you, pay for you, be your emotional support, be the guy that fixes everything, basically be your dad. Why do you think your dad gives you away at your wedding? It's so your husband can do all the things that your father either did or never did. Y'all want princess treatment, and now y'all are talking about like household chores and cooking and cleaning. So I have to pose the question, if he's cooking, cleaning, working 60 hours a week, being your therapist, being all of the things that you need, and you want to complain about being a mother, basically an adult responsibility, like make it make sense. It's the same reason that you see online all of these posts about, oh, if my husband won't, my dad will. Growing up with a dad that spoiled me means that my husband's gonna have to do the same. Y'all post all day long online. And it's so crazy because these men will actually provide, work 60 hours a week. They're adding on the household chores and all of that women keep adding on to it. Well, basically they end up with an adult child crying about how they're never happy, they're never satisfied, and they're entitled. Okay, bye.
Just take everything a modern woman says about what a man is doing wrong and reverse it. And that's what you're getting from a modern woman.